I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up on the attack.
You think you're tough? You think you got what it takes to be a survivor main? Oh, you do? Okay, that's cool. Well, hopefully this list of perks is gonna point you in the right direction. What is going on, YouTube? It's your boy Max Baker, and just like the killer perk list video that I put up the other day, we're gonna do one for survivors, again based on Otz's quick info guide for killers and survivors. I think that's what it is. It's got a long title. I'm gonna link it down in the description though. It's a Google sheet that basically will show you some good builds on characters and what perks are considered to be god tier and what perks are considered to be good and what perks aren't really worth your time, so you know where to better allocate your blood points. Now, just in case you haven't watched the killer video, if you're not interested in killers at all, that's fine. I'm just going to reiterate, if you're brand new to the game, maybe you've been watching your favorite streamer play it, nudge nudge wink wink, or your friends are just getting the game and they want you to get in on the action too. In Dead by Daylight, when you play games, you get blood points. And unlike traditional experience in other games, blood points get stored in a bank, and then you can spend them on whatever character you want. So it's not like playing a specific character will automatically level that character up. Now, this is kind of a blessing and a curse as well, because you spend those blood points on that character's blood web. And this is going to be a randomly generated web of nodes of varying rarity and thus varying cost of items, add-ons, but most importantly perks, which is what we're talking about today. Probably the best investment if you're starting a brand new account is to be going after perks. Now, each character comes with their own 3 unique perks, but if you put enough blood points into them, you can unlock a teachable version of that perk, thus allowing other characters to unlock it off of their own blood webs. So let's just say that you had David, and you wanted David's perk, We're Gonna Live Forever, but you like playing Sunglasses Dwight, a man of culture as well, I see. So what you would have to do is you would put your blood points into David first, leveling him up enough to unlock the teachable version of We're Gonna Live Forever. This makes it so it'll appear on other characters' blood webs, Dwight in this case. Then we're gonna spend our points on Dwight, hoping that the RNG gods bless us and we see We're Gonna Live Forever on Dwight's blood web. Also, I want to get this out of the way first and foremost. I mentioned in the killer video there is a perk from Leatherface that is called Barbecue and Chili that really can boost your blood point gain in matches. Survivors have that as well, and that's conveniently what We're Gonna Live Forever is. I would consider this a pretty good first investment, especially since you're not going to have that many teachables unlocked, if any. If you're starting a brand new account, you're not going to have any. So this will make it easier for We're Gonna Live Forever to appear on other characters' blood webs. Obviously, there's less perks for them to learn. There's a smaller pool, better chance of We're Gonna Live Forever showing up. So to unlock the teachable version of this perk, we're going to need to get David to level 30. So straight up, this is going to make it so you can pick up your teammates that are downed into the dying state, crawling on the floor kind of night. You pick them up 100% faster. So that's just pretty useful. But the magic of this perk is that whenever you pull somebody off a hook safely, if you were to body block the killer from one of your injured teammates and the killer hits you instead, that's a protected hit. And whenever you stun the killer with a flashlight or with a pallet to make them drop one of your teammates that they're carrying, you're going to get a stack of We're Gonna Live Forever. This basically just does the same thing as Barbecue and Chili. Gives you 4 stacks, you get 100% extra blood points. It's that simple. So like I said, this is a pretty good first investment, I would say. Since you're not going to have that many perks to play around with anyway, just put it in the extra slot. Get some extra blood points. There are a couple other Survivor perks that will also increase your blood points, but I feel like We're Gonna Live Forever, being basically the Survivor equivalent of Barbecue and Chili, is going to be the best bet for just a single perk. However, if you want to check out those other perks and see what those are, I've got a Survivor blood point farming build video that I'm going to leave in the description. And also, because I'm feeling kind of generous, I'm going to link the killer version as well. So don't say Daddy never got you anything for Christmas. We're just gonna leave that in the final cut. So the sheet with all the perks on it showing you what's meta, showing you what's good, showing you what's kind of dog water. But the first of these meta perks that we're going to look after is Kindred. Kindred is quite simple. It makes it so that when you, the Kindred user, are hooked, it allows all the survivors to see where all the other survivors are. So basically your entire team knows where everybody is on the team. And also this makes it so that if the killer is face camping you, their aura gets revealed to all the survivors. So they know that they're right there. So if one of your teammates gets hooked and they're not running Kindred, but you are, then the aura of all your other teammates is going to be revealed, but only to you. So the entire team does not see where everybody is, only you do. And again, that killer aura reading is carried over as well, but again, it's only to you. So to simplify it, if the person who's using Kindred is on the hook, then the aura reveal is team-wide, and if anybody else who's not using Kindred is hooked, then the Kindred user gets to see all the auras, and only the Kindred user. All right, let's get on to some teachables here. We're going to start with Old Mate Dwight with his perk Prove Thyself that you unlock as a teachable from his Blood Web at level 35. So again, if you want Prove Thyself on a different character, you'd have to get Dwight to level 35 first, and then buy that teachable version off of his Blood Web, and then it'll appear on other characters' Blood Webs. So basically what this does is it gives a 15% repair speed boost for every other survivor that is working on the same generator as you, basically. It's worded kind of funny, because I guess in theory you could just, if there's a generator that only has 3 sides exposed, I guess Dwight could just kind of stand there and be a Dwight totem and give that Prove Thyself boost to everybody else, because it does apply to the other survivors as well. And I reckon that's why it specifies 4-meter range and not working on the same generator as you. And this one's also going to get you extra blood points for co-op actions, meaning repairing generators and co-op healing. So this one's actually kind of nutty. If all 4 survivors were working on a generator, that would be an extra 45% increase to repair speed just for having a perk. That's pretty good. Moving on to Meg, we have 2 perks that we're going to pick up from her. The first one being at level 35. This is Sprint Burst. So Sprint Burst might take a little bit of getting used to at first when you start using it, because it makes it so that whenever you sprint, right? So as soon as you hit the sprint key, you're going to be going. It gives you 150% running speed boost for 3 seconds when you sprint. This is going to make you exhausted, which basically means that you can't use it again until you either stand still or walk for 40 seconds. You can't sprint. Your exhaustion doesn't go down when you sprint. So this is a pretty basic perk. It just does what it says on the tin. And the cool thing is there's a neat little tech that you can do. So here's the scenario. Let's say that you just use Sprint Burst and you're still sprinting away and now you're exhausted. So like I said, you're going to have to either walk off the exhaustion or just stop moving and let the exhaustion timer tick down. But instead of letting it completely go away, you want to start sprinting again right before your exhaustion expires. So you're going to stay exhausted, right? But you're going to be sprinting normal speed. So therefore you can sprint if you need to get around the map, but then you're not just wasting your next charge of Sprint Burst because you're still exhausted and it hasn't procced yet. And then if the killer catches up to you and you really need it, you can stop sprinting for just a second, walk for just a second, let the exhaustion clear, and then take off with Sprint Burst again. So we just got Sprint Burst at level 35 at Meg, so we're pretty close to the next one that we need from her at level 40, which is Adrenaline. This makes it so that when the exit gates turn on, right? So the final gen gets popped, the exit gates power on, you're going to get 1 health state back, and you're going to be sprinting at 150% for 5 seconds, so even longer than Sprint Burst lets you run. And it also says Adrenaline is on hold if you're disabled at the moment. So if you're like on the hook and the gates power on and then one of your teammates comes and frees you from the hook, that's when Adrenaline's going to kick in. So then you should be off the hook, healthy, and moving at 150% speed. Now the other interesting thing about this is that Adrenaline can still proc even if you are exhausted, but it causes exhaustion. So for example, if you had just Sprint Bursted and you were still exhausted by the time that you got hit, and now you're injured, the gates power on, the last generator gets popped. You're still going to get the boost from adrenaline. However, it doesn't work the other way around. So let's just say opposite scenario. The exit gates turn on, you get that adrenaline boost, you run it out for 5 seconds, you're going to be exhausted, and then you cannot sprint burst because you're exhausted. Okay, those ones were kind of a mouthful, but this one's really, really simple. This is Iron Will from Jake Park. This is something you get from his Blood Web at level 30, and what this does is it makes your grunts of pain quieter. So when you're injured and your character goes, we're just leaving those in the final cut as well. Cool. So at tier 3, this is going to make your grunts of pain silent. Make it a lot harder for the killer to find you if you're injured and crouching somewhere hiding from them. All right, next up we've got David King. And the perk that we want from David is Dead Hard. This is probably the most iconic and recognizable. Even if you've just heard the name of it and you don't know what it does, you've probably this is probably the most used perk in the game. So what Dead Hard does is when you're injured, you can basically perform a little dash, right? And it makes you completely invincible. It does cause exhaustion, but this dude, I don't know, dude. The netcode in the game is kind of sus. So sometimes playing killer, you get a nice juicy hit. You hear the and you hear the ah, but then nothing happens. You know why? Because you get the hit, and then like a second afterwards, you see him hit the fucking dab and get out of there. Yeah, that's Dead Hard. All right, just like Meg, we need 2 of Bill's perks, one being at level 35. That is going to be Borrowed Time. This one is huge, huge, huge as well. So Borrowed Time makes it so that when you unhook one of your teammates for 12 seconds at tier 3, if they get hit, it doesn't matter. So instead of losing a health state, they're going to just be afflicted by a deep wound instead, and then they need to run away and mend that up. But then they're okay. And trust me, I play a lot of Legion, so I know a lot about deep wounds. Deep wounds, bleed out timer doesn't tick down if you're sprinting. So usually how this goes down is the Borrowed Time user unhooks somebody, the killer hits the person that just got unhooked. Oh, they now have endurance from Borrowed Time, and then they run away because they have the speed boost from the hit, and they can just get away and eventually find a little corner to mend their deep wound in, and then it's all Gucci, like the hit never even happened. All right, next we have Unbreakable at level 40 from Bill. This makes it so that once per game, you can pick yourself up off the ground from dying. You don't need no teammates. It also does give you a boost to your recovery speed as well, so that's pretty nice. So congratulations, by deciding to be a Survivor main, you've chosen to play Dead by Daylight on easy mode because all the perks that we just discussed come from characters that are free. However, there are 2 meta perks that we need from characters that are paid, one of which you can unlock using the player progression currency, and the other one, unfortunately, is a licensed character, so you do need to pay real money. So let's talk about that real money licensed character. Of course, it is Laurie Strode, and despite what you might see from the entire Harry Potter novel of text that I just threw up on the screen, Decisive Strike works pretty simple. First of all, Decisive Strike is obtained from Laurie Strode's Blood Web at level 40. Now let me paint you another scenario. You've just been hooked, and one of your teammates has come to rescue you. Obviously, you're injured because you've just gotten off the hook, and the killer decides to come back over, and he hits you again and downs you. Now he's going to pick you up, and because you have Decisive Strike, it's going to make a skill check pop up. And if you can successfully hit that skill check, it's going to make you hit the killer with your karate chop action, and then he's going to drop you in the same fashion as if you were to wiggle away or somebody were to come save you with a flashlight. So you only get 1 use of Decisive Strike per game, and also if you were to touch a generator, if you're to heal you or somebody else, if you were to touch a totem, if you're to sabotage a hook, or if you're to unhook anybody else, then you lose your Decisive Strike. And also using Decisive Strike makes you become the new Obsession, and I'm not really going to get into that because there's plenty of different perks that interact differently with how Obsession works. Just know that it makes you the Obsession. So the other character that we would need to buy for this perk is Michaela. And the perk that we need is her level 35 teachable boon Circle of Healing. This lets you bless a totem, and it's going to set up a 24-meter field in which anybody can run to, and they are able to heal themselves. Also, inside the field, healing other survivors is faster, except healing yourself is a little bit slower. And of course, the killer is going to be able to hear the totem if they're close enough and snuff it out, but you can just set up a new one on a different totem. This actually just got nerfed, and the graphic on the screen right now currently reflects the post-nerf values. But the general consensus from the community is that reducing the healing speed was not the problem with Circle of Healing. So even after the nerf, I think this one is going to stay meta. All right, so that is going to be it for covering the meta perks according to Otz's sheet. You unlock these, you're going to have a really, really nice core of perks to work around and put some other builds together with. However, there are also some perks that he's just marked good. So let's take a look at those real quick. First of all, we've got a few general perks. So again, no teachables. They just appear on people's blood webs as it is. First of all, we've got Inner Healing, which was a perk from Nancy before they took the Stranger Things DLC away from the store. And now it's just a general perk, and I don't know who that guy is. Anyway, this allows you to cleanse a totem, and then when you're injured, you can just hop into a locker for a little bit, and you come out feeling nice and fresh and Gucci. Next, we've got Spine Chill. This makes it so that when the killer is looking in your direction, basically you do just about everything 6% faster. However, your skill checks are going to be more frequent, and also you're going to have a smaller chance to hit your skill checks properly. Not too bad for like a high risk, high reward kind of thing. And the final general perk that we have in the good category is Will Make It. This is going to give you a speed boost to healing other survivors for 90 seconds after you unhook somebody. All right, that's it for the general perks. Let's get on to teachables. We're back at our buddy Dwight, who at level 30 gets a perk called Bond. This makes it so that you can see the auras of your teammates within 36 meters. It's pretty simple. Decent perk to run with Prove Thyself as well, because you'll be able to see if a teammate is off somewhere behind a wall working on a generator. You can go join them and get those extra blood points. Next, we have Balanced Landing from Nia. And this is Sprint Burst, but to activate it, you have to jump off of something high. This also makes it so you don't make a noise when you hit the ground after jumping off of something high. And the stagger that you get when you hit the ground is going to be reduced, so you can take off running faster. Also, important to note, this does cost exhaustion as well. Next, we've got two perks from Feng Min. First one being at level 35, which is Life. Same situation as Balanced Landing. This is a sprint burst that is activated when you vault over something. Next perk is Alert at level 40. This makes it so that when the killer basically kicks anything, pallets, breakable walls, or generators, you can see their aura for 5 seconds, so you get to see where they are. Next perk we have is For the People from Zarina at level 40. This allows you to instantly heal another survivor when you're at full health. This makes you the Obsession, and it also gives you Broken status, which means that you can't be healed back up to healthy for 60 seconds. Next, we've got Cheryl's Soul Guard, which you get at level 30. And this is basically, like how we discussed the variations of Sprint Burst, this is basically borrowed time, but for picking people up from dying state off the ground. The other little interesting tweak about this one is that if you are currently cursed, which means under the effects of the killer's hex perks, this then works like Bill's Unbreakable, so you can recover yourself from dying state. And also important to note, Soul Guard's cooldown is 30 seconds at every tier of this perk. Finally, the newest survivor in the game, Jonah, he's got something off his blood web that we want at level 30, and that is Overcome. Overcome basically gives you the movement speed boost from when you get hit by the killer for an extra 2 seconds, and then it causes exhaustion, but this one's pretty alright as well. Considering how fast you move when you get hit, extra 2 seconds will get you really far. So that's it. That's going to be all the perks listed as good. Again, the sheet is going to be down in the description below. All right, we're done. We got killer perks, we got survivor perks. These videos took a lot of editing, so make sure you smash the like button, subscribe if you want to see some more Dead by Daylight gameplay, and I'm currently playing through Pokemon Brilliant Diamond as well, so if you're into that, that's great. You can check out my stream at twitch.tv/MaxBakerTV. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.